Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about talking to the negative voice inside your head. When you want to lose weight, you got to recognize that you talk to yourself. Okay, this is called your internal dialogue. You're talking to yourself constantly. In the hypnosis world, we always say you are your own best or worst hypnotist because you are constantly talking to yourself and it's having the effect of hypnosis, right? As simple as that. Now, what's that mean? Hypnosis is basically the simplest definition is we're bypassing the critical mind to speak to the subconscious mind. So your critical mind is your conscious mind, the logical, rational part of your brain. It's about 10% of your brain. This is the part of your brain you usually use to try and lose weight, right? You try and logically figure out a plan and then force yourself to do it using that part of your brain. The rest of your brain is a subconscious mind that basically runs all your habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and it is running on autopilot. Okay, so when you want to lose weight, a big part of what's influencing you is this negative voice that you have in your mind. Now, you may have various negative voices, but we're just using the one concept of a negative voice to simplify it, because how you would deal with all of them is the same. And so you have this negative voice in your mind that is going to say things like, what's the point? We can never stick with a plan anyways. What's the point of trying to lose weight? I always quit. Why am I so screwed up? Why can't I stick to a plan? What's wrong with me? Who cares anyways? Doesn't even matter. It's just on and on. It never stops. You could even start getting results. You could start losing weight. And this way, say, so what? Who cares? It's not even a big deal. It's not even noticeable. You can't even tell. This is going to take forever. It just goes on and on. I mean, literally on and on forever. Because most dieters are walking around with a constant soundtrack of negative thoughts. You may find this in yourself, especially when you actually start dieting, that even when you do good things, you start making better decisions, better lifestyle choices, this voice will still put those down, minimize them, make you feel like it's not going to matter. And this to me is really the core mindset challenge of going from being overweight to being at your goal weight, is getting a handle on this part of your mind, because it's constantly there and it's constantly influencing you. And most people never really stop to think about it. They just kind of try and just fight against it. But if you take a step back and really reflect on it and start to understand it, what happens is it allows you to start to be more strategic with how you deal with it. And this is really what so much of Program Yourself Thin is built around. One huge piece of the program is learning how to run your own mind, which really technically is kind of like saying, how do I change my internal dialogue? And if you're like most dieters, you have an internal dialogue that's very, very negative, harsh, critical, punitive, mean. But the question I have for you is, how would your weight loss go? How do you think it would go if you had a voice in your head that was encouraging, supportive, helpful, understanding, compassionate, empathetic, guiding you along the path, picking you up when you needed it, pointing out, solutions, helping you recover from when you make mistakes? Wouldn't that be more helpful? Well, of course it would be. But very few people stop to take a step back and think about this. Because what are you doing? Again, every diet you've done, I already know this about you. I know every single diet you've ever done in your life. And unless you change it, every diet you will do in the future, regardless of what the diet is, you go into it with limiting beliefs, a negative mindset, really beating yourself up when you make any mistakes. And that way of being would be like, living with someone that every time you try to do something, they were critical and beating you down and putting you down. But imagine it's even worse than any roommate you could possibly be with, because the roommate lives literally inside your head 24 hours a day. So unless you start to get a handle on this negative voice, it's really difficult to lose weight, because it's really difficult to stick to a plan. Because again, even if you're getting good results, this voice can make you feel like you're failing. I see it all the time. People that have literally gotten 50% of the way to their goal, lost 20, 30, 50, 100 pounds, and still feel like failures. So this is really important to wrap your head around, because again, even when you're doing well, this voice can make it feel like you're not. And in that sort of bizarro world, it's almost impossible to stick to something, because you always feel like you're failing, even when you're not. So how do you deal with this negative voice? I would suggest the best way to deal with the negative voice is to create a positive voice. So it's not to obsess more on the negative voice. It is to spend more energy creating and developing a positive, supportive, encouraging, helpful voice inside your mind. And if you do this strategically and systematically, what happens is you start speaking to yourself in a different way. And all of a sudden you have kind of an ally, a support system inside your mind that's supporting you and guiding you towards the goals you want to get to, rather than always putting you down. So again, my point here is just to point it out and hopefully, stoke your interest in wanting to deal with this and reflect on it. Do you have this negative voice? I promise you, you do. And if you never are able to deal with this, how do you expect to get the changes you want? Because it's usually that negative voice that really precedes the quitting, the sabotaging, the stopping. So once you get a handle on this, the whole process changes in a way that you've probably never experienced in your life before. So if you want some support in actually making that happen, click the link in my bio, go to Program Yourself, then sign up for the free hypnosis session, watch the training I made for you, read the emails I send you, and go check that stuff out. It'll help you, again, approach your weight from a completely different point of view and finally get control of the thoughts in your mind so they are more supportive and encouraging. So hope that helps you out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday. Rose says, I love your motivation. Thanks, Rose. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm here live every Monday through Friday to answer any questions and to motivate and help you all out. And as I always say, I give you more free stuff than anyone on the planet. And it's really exciting for me. I will tell you this. This is today a very important moment for me because finally, things have kind of come together. So it's like I use a Circle. It's called Circle. I don't know if anyone knows about this, but it's an app and it's like a community app. And so I use this. It's called Circle, and I use this for my customers. And it's just another way I kind of deliver the program. And they're able to ask questions and talk to other people in the program and access everything, and it's great. But what they just started using is an AI service within it, and so it's really cool because now, and all my clients, everyone in the program is going to get this today. It's ready to go already. And the cool part though, as well, is like I said, I've been putting together a section for free. And that's going to be a free program I'm just going to give you all. It's going to be called PYT Spark, Program Yourself Then Spark. It's really designed to get you motivated, inspired, and excited to kind of the first step, of your weight mastery journey here. But again, even that's going to have the AI. So it's really nice because it's going to create a whole different experience for you. So you'll go in there, and if you ever feel lost or confused or have questions, you go right to this thing. It understands the whole program. It's been trained on all of it, and it can really support you and guide you along the way. So that's kind of cool as well. I do have a clone of me as well, a coaching clone for my coaching clients. But again, this little AI thing is really cool, and that's exciting. So again, if you're not in my world, get in my world by getting that hypnosis session, because I got a bunch of free stuff coming for you. And if you are already a client, you're gonna get it. Oh, Sherry said I got it this morning. Yeah, Sherry, that's actually going to switch. You got that. That showed up as Jim AI. And I was testing it out, but it turns out like I have an AI clone of me that's cloned on over 11 million words of mine. Okay. And so that one there is more for coaching. Like it'll coach you through things. You can go to it with anything. It'll coach you. This one here is a little less coaching based, but it's program based. Okay. So this one's really good. If you're going through the program, let's just say, for example, in the program, one part of it is your goal weight blueprints, right? Mindset, lifestyle, eating blueprints. And let's just say you're struggling with the motivation blueprints in the mindset section. And you say, I'm not really sure, what my real motivation is. This thing will help you, find in the program the right answers and questions, and it'll break it down for you right there. So it's really cool. And then those of you in the coaching thing, again, Jim AI already, that one walks you right through it. So anyways, it's real exciting. Michael says, listen to you all the time. Very encouraging. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Again, I'm just so excited. A lot of things are coming together for me. It's a very exciting time for me, business-wise, because again, I just redid the blueprints. So they're really good. They're really optimized. They're solid. A book's coming out in the next couple months here. The Circle app is ready to go, and it's about to be open for everyone. Okay. So it won't just be, I'm so excited about this because before what happened is you'd opt in for the hypnosis session. This is still how it is. It's going to change over the weekend. But you'd opt in for the hypnosis session, and then you go to a web page, and it's kind of all by itself. And so it's really cool to house everything in Circle now, because it's a whole community thing. And so you have access to more content that's going to help you. And if you have questions and things like that, there's going to be more discussion areas, and it's just more of a community feel as well. So it's really exciting. It's kind of the next level. Here on my shirt. Next level of support that I can offer, and to everyone too. Again, customers, clients, and for free too. So again, my mission in life is to help as many people as possible live at their goal weight. Again, if you don't know my story, my father died at 54 of a heart attack. I was 9 years old. So for me, weight is way more than just looking good in a bathing suit. It really is about how long you live, your quality of life, all of these things. And so that's why I do this every day, because I know that most people struggle with their weight. In my opinion, most people struggle with their weight primarily because they think like dieters and do not know how to think like a thin, healthy person. And so Program Yourself Thin really is a systematic approach to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person in the most easy and comfortable way possible. That's kind of as simple as it is. And it's a comprehensive, holistic approach to it. What's up, Ken? Ken says your podcast gives me my daily motivation boost. Thank you, Jim. You're welcome. Yeah. I love getting on here. I love this part too. That's going to be some changes too. I think that's something that's coming down the pike here as well that I was thinking about retesting out is doing maybe once a week. And again, this is going to be cool. I think the circle thing's going to lead to this, but maybe once a week I might do like a Zoom call that will be free. It'll be free. And you can get on and ask any questions you have. So if you want some coaching, I might work with you for 10, 15 minutes. Now, again, you'd have to allow me to use that content for, podcasts and videos and stuff, but it might be interesting for you all to see me actually work with people. I know a lot of people in the coaching groups, they love it. They obviously love me working with them, but it's also really helpful for them to listen to me work with other people. And I think the more you see me work with real people, you really see this approach much more clearly, than me just talking about it. Because you'll see me, people will have their issues or their struggles or their limiting beliefs or whatever it may be. Thanks for that. Thanks for the rose. And you'll see how we go at it, and it's completely different than dieting. And so it's very eye-opening because the way we approach basic things like how do I stop eating at night? How do I stop overeating? How do I deal with emotional eating? All the big normal questions that you have. We come at them from a completely different angle than you've typically heard. Because basically, with dieting, the answer is almost always the same. The answer is always just use willpower to do the right thing. But what do you do when you can't, it's just not working? What do you do when the willpower is just not working for you? It's not there. You can't get yourself to do the right thing. And that's a reality of life. We want to pretend that you're going to get to this point where you just do everything perfect, but I have not seen much evidence for that. I personally am never perfect with my eating lifestyle mindset. Never have been, and I can't imagine that I ever will be. I get more and more perfect. I keep improving for sure. But I rarely am at the perfect level for very long. And you don't have to be. That's kind of the big message I'm saying, which kind of is one of the real big concepts of Program Yourself Thin is we kind of get out of the all or nothing mindset and get into an all or something mindset. So it's really, it's a completely different paradigm, to approach your weight loss with. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. I've got so many cool things coming, and then a lot of them are free. The free stuff I give you, I think you're gonna find more helpful than shit you're gonna pay for out in the world. So it's exciting. So that Circle app, make sure you get in there because again, everything's gonna be in there for you. You're gonna get the hypnosis session is gonna be right there. The training is gonna be right there. The goal weight quiz is gonna be right there. I'm gonna give you a free workshop, Feeling Proud workshop. I'm just gonna give you. I did it this week for my Thrive group. I'm gonna put that in there for you. That's all free. You're gonna have access to the podcast each week. I put a replay of those. Those will be up in there, and some other cool stuff. So again, it's really kind of a big step forward here, the way it's all gonna be set up. So, and it's just gonna allow me to kind of help you all out even more. That's kind of my goal. I'm always looking for ways to help and inspire you all more because again, for me, your weight's life and death. I really think of it that way. And that's why I'm so motivated to help people because I don't just think of it as a visual looking better thing. And I think that's fine too. Wanting to look better, that's great. Okay. But it's more than that. It's about being the best version of yourself possible, living as long as you can, having the best quality of life you can live. It's so much bigger than that. And I think when you start thinking of it that way, again, you start to bring more motivation in as well. And you can start thinking about it. Again, the biggest shift you can make in your weight doesn't come from motivate or from willpower. It comes from thinking differently about this, because when you think differently about it, you naturally start to tap into a lot more motivation. You tap into a lot more of your resources than you typically would. Vicky says, you inspire me in my quest for freedom in all realms of my life. Well, thank you, Vicky. Yeah. And again, I mean, that's another piece of this. I always say program yourself into weight loss wrapped in personal development. So in reality, program yourself in is really a personal development program, that helps you lose weight. It's forward facing on the weight piece of it. But, listen, your mind is running everything. Your mind is the main thing influencing your relationships, your finances, your health, your happiness, all the things in your life that are important to you. Your mindset's the main thing influencing those. So again, in Program Yourself Thin, we really, you learn how to influence your mind to weigh what you want. But simultaneously, as you do that, you're learning how to be able to use your mind to improve your relationships, be healthier, feel better, whatever is important to you. Again, it helps you thrive more, in whatever areas of your life are important. So, and again, I think that's helpful. That's another thing I always want to teach, just straight personal development, but the weight stuff is just too important to me. And so I feel almost a duty to focus on this. But again, once you learn it, it's easier, I think, to apply it to other areas of your life. I use this stuff constantly in all the areas of my life, certainly with work, with what I'm doing, my productivity, my efficiency, all of this stuff. I'm absolutely using the same techniques I use in Program Yourself Thin in that area. So they do help you that way. What's up, Sherry? Sherry says, as I think about it, I noticed that the negative voice comes not only from things people said, but even nuances of judgmental glances or even judgments we imagine others make. It's work to be positive. Yeah, absolutely, Sherry. That's what we started this call talking about, the negative voices in your head. And yeah, as you start to pay attention to them, absolutely, you realize that this voice is constantly just generating negative content out of thin air most of the time. It's remembering negative things. It's making a bigger deal out of little things than they need to be. And it becomes a modus operandi, right? It becomes just a way of being. And most people I've seen with the weight loss piece, they have a super negative voice, right? Because on top of, we all have a negative voice anyways. We all have a negativity bias. I'm not gonna get into that. But then on top of that, if you're a dieter, you've probably tried to lose weight numerous times and it hasn't worked. And that's just made that voice even bigger and louder. You have probably had some experiences where you felt embarrassed or ashamed or something that was emotionally, it's almost traumatic. That makes that voice bigger and louder. And so, yes, learning how to create a positive, encouraging, supportive voice in your mind to counteract that, it is work. I mean, there's no question about it, because it's literally metaphorically building that positive voice. It's very similar to like working out, like lifting weights, right? If you're lifting weights, you're literally building muscle that's not there. You're getting stronger. You're making yourself stronger than you were. And with Program Yourself Thin, that's kind of what you're doing. You're building this more positive, encouraging, supportive voice in your mind that's not there right now. It's not there. You don't have a positive, encouraging voice when it comes to living at your goal weight. You've got an extremely negative one. Now, this is all on purpose. Dieting is bullshit, folks. The dieting industry is a branch of the food industry. Just so you know, Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Auntie Anne's Pretzels owns the Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company on Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast owned by the same company owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So these companies are filling your head with rocks when you're trying to lose weight. They don't want you to stop eating their food. They don't want you to be thin and healthy. They want your money for the diets and they want your money for the food. So there is no reason in the world those companies truly want to help you live as a thin, healthy person. And so you're basically being conditioned to think like an overweight person. And that's what a dieter is. A dieter is an overweight person who's trying to lose weight. And that's a completely different mindset than being a thin and healthy person. Hope that makes sense. And so how do you become a thin, healthy person? And I asked that genuinely, because I bet you don't know. I bet you have no clue how to become a thin, healthy person. And you probably have no clue where you would learn how to learn that either. Who are you going to learn that from? And nothing's coming to mind, right? So again, I don't know why, no one really talks about this. But once you start thinking about it, it starts to become a real interesting piece of the puzzle, because how do you not think that your mind is really instrumental in what you eat and what you do day in and day out that ultimately creates your weight. So this idea that you just need a plan and you'll follow it, and what? Why? Why would you just all of a sudden just follow a plan? How many times have you tried to follow a plan in your life? Again, I'm not trying to be judgmental or snarky here. I'm just honestly, how many times have you tried following a plan and you started strong and then stopped? And the answer I already know is every time, every literal time. So it's just kind of crazy. So anyways, oops, there we go. Let's see. Ken says, successfully using PYT techniques to improve strength and mobility. Small, consistent improvement. Yeah, absolutely, Ken. Great job. I'm doing the same thing. I will, I'll brag a little bit here. I'm not really bragging, but I'm telling you my truth, And so again, I want to be clear, for 30 years, I dropped 50 pounds and kept it off for 30 years. And I did that without any dieting and without any consistent working out. I didn't want to work out. And so I really just mastered my eating and lifestyle. Okay. But then I'm turned 50 this year, and I noticed myself getting weaker, and muscle and strength is becoming more important. Okay. Not because it matters visually, but because for my quality of life, my strength, I need to make it a focus, I believe. So I use the same program yourself then techniques to get myself to start becoming stronger, strength training. And so for me, I don't know how many months it's been. Where are we? June? Maybe it's been 4 months. I don't even know. So there's a little bit of fuzziness on when I started, but let's just say it's been 4 months. But 4 months ago, I went to do push-ups, and I'd had a shoulder issue for years. And so I would do some push-ups. I could do 5 push-ups. And that's how weak I'd gotten. My shoulder was out of control too, but I was weak because my shoulder had been hurt for 4 years. So I didn't really work out in probably a year and a half. It got so bad I couldn't even really do much, and my strength went down. So 5 push-ups. That's genuine too. I'm not bullshitting you. 5 push-ups. And so I slowly and systematically started building it up. Okay, but that's the secret. And that's the big secret I had to learn myself, because I'm an all or nothing type of person, instinctively. So every time I was working out in the past, I jump into something just like dieters do, right? Just jump into it 100%. I would do that for a little while, get hurt, get sick of it, stop doing it. I did that a number of times. And so this was the first time I was like, I'm not doing it this way anymore, because I'm in this for the long game. For the rest of my life, I want to focus on my strength. So I don't give a shit how I look after a month or 2 months. I don't give a shit. I want to have a strength routine for the rest of my life. I want to have strength and flexibility till I'm 150 years old. So I start with 5, do 5 push-ups Monday through Friday every day. And I started doing squats too, bodyweight squats. But so I do 5 push-ups, and the next week I'll do 10. Now I was able to go 5, 10, 20 pretty quick, So, but that's how I did it, as I started going about 5 a day, 5 a week, I mean. And so now I'm up to 120 a day. I do 4 sets, right? So I started off, I would do, 5, 5, 5, 5. I do 20 a day that way, right? Each day. Then the next week, I had a couple more in, and now I'm up to like 30, 30, 30, 30. No, I'll just keep going because it's comfortable. So I'm not in a rush. I'm not pushing it too hard. I'm kind of in that sweet spot. And that's the flow state. If you know about flow, it's basically the idea that you kind of push yourself to the limit and go a little bit further, but you hover around there. And in different days, it's different boundaries, right? But you kind of go to your boundary where it's relatively comfortable and you kind of play with it. It's very yoga-like to me. Yoga to me, I'm a yoga instructor as well, but like you go into a posture, and to me, let's just say you're doing a forward bend and you're forward bending, and there's going to be a point like where, like here, it's easy and you can hold yourself up and it's really easy. And you start pushing forward, and then it starts getting harder. And what happens when it starts getting harder is you tense up, you stop breathing. And so in yoga, to me, it's always about playing with that boundary where you go too far and you get tense and you stop breathing. Hold on, let me ease it off so that I can relax. And then let me kind of fall into a little bit more, get a little tense, tight, I kind of ease off and go back into my relaxation breath. So to me, it's the same thing with everything we do. Instead of jumping into something 100% and overwhelming ourselves, we start slow and we systematically and strategically build up on it. And that strategy is in stark contrast to dieting. That's the biggest difference, I would say, out of all of it. Because with dieting, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what diet you do. Literally, you could pick any diet on the planet, literally any of them. And the one thing they all have in common is you approach them exactly the same. You jump into it 100% on a Monday, and you expect to be 100% with it until you lose the weight. And it's overwhelming. It's hard. It's difficult. It's stressful. And you end up quitting because of that. So the alternative I'm talking about is to start slower, comfortably, with an eye towards doing this for the rest of your life, not some short-term thing just to get instant results, but a long-term commitment and approach that works for you, that's comfortable, that's relatively easy. So Mary says, stop self-sabotage, binge eating, how to stop at just one. Yeah. So, the self-sabotage binge eating, I think that's a common thing. How to stop at just one. Well, that's the wrong focus, in my opinion, only because, listen, there's a lot more to it than this, right? So the first question is, if you've got binge eating patterns, right? Never mind the self-sabotage. The self-sabotage is bullshit. I will let you know I know this, no one ever agrees with me with this when I first say it, but self-sabotage is the wrong explanation, right? So for example, if I sit you at a piano and you've never played piano before and I tell you to play me a song and you don't, and I say, oh, you're just sabotaging yourself. You say, no, I don't know how to play the piano. I'm sabotaging myself. I don't know how to do it. So in order to sabotage yourself, kind of by definition, you have to know how to do something and then not do it. And so I think that it's inaccurate to say that you're sabotaging yourself when you binge, because I think what's going on is a lot of times when you're binge eating, and because there's more to the binge eating, right? So usually what's triggering the binge eating? Usually it's going to be one of three things or a combination of them. Number one, you're way too hungry. You've over restricted. Now you're super hungry and now you can't stop yourself from overeating. Okay. So the first one's hunger. Second one's emotional, right? You get into some real negative emotional state or a peak positive emotional state, right? You win $10,000 on the lottery. Well, watch out. You're probably gonna go out and eat a bunch of food. You're feeling really lonely and sad. You're probably gonna eat a bunch of food. And the third one is just this habit. It's Friday night, end of the week, time to eat. So usually it's one or all three, a combination of those. And so we want to look at the binge eating. We want to understand the pattern of it, because there's different binge eating patterns. And so the same solution doesn't apply to all of them. In dieting, it does, because in dieting, you're just going to use your willpower to say, no, I'm not going to do that. But in Program Yourself, then we look at binge eating or emotional eating as a symptom of a deeper problem, right? And so the examples I just said, if you find that you binge eat after you diet for 3 days and you say, well, I sabotage myself. Well, I say you got yourself so hungry from not eating for 3 days that you got so hungry you can't control your eating now. I don't call that sabotage. I call that a shitty strategy. And then the emotional thing, the same thing. If you don't know how to deal with your emotions genuinely, right, you get sad and eating is the only thing that can reduce the sadness, then you're going to use the eating. Does that make sense? But once you know how to reduce the sadness genuinely, then the desire to use food to deal with it goes down. Right. And then obviously the habit, we deal with that one on its own way too. So again, to me, it's not just, there's no one size, willpower. Oh, just don't do it. Just don't binge eat. That's basically what diets are going to tell you. You know what I mean? Like that's basically all the advice you're going to get in the diet world is, well, just don't binge eat. What? I mean, I already knew that, so we need to have more elegant, sophisticated strategies at our disposal than just willpower. Willpower is not enough. If it was, 75% of the population wouldn't be overweight or obese, so you gotta go deeper into it. Ken says, in my mid 60s, went from barely being able to get up from the floor to almost being able to leap up. That's awesome, Ken. Yeah, it's amazing. And again, when you approach this stuff strategically, it's amazing what you can do. Jay says, what's a growing problem you see amongst young adults that wasn't as prevalent before? That one's easy. Social media. I think social media creates all kinds of problems on both sides. I think on one side, it creates absolutely unrealistic expectations and beauty standards that are bullshit. And I think they're reinforced so intensely. So I think that's terrible. And I think the other side is that you get a nonstop diet of bullshit influencers that are telling you bullshit, mostly because they get paid. Most influencers out there are saying what they're saying because they're getting paid to say what they're saying. Does that make sense? Every day I get multiple offers to, sell supplements, to sell products, to sell programs. So most influencers are doing that. And so what they're saying to you is obviously biased towards those things. It's not real. I don't do any of that shit. I might sell my program. I give a lot of shit away for free though, but I don't sell supplements. I don't sell bullshit here. I take the no bullshit oath, from my heart that everything I say is what I know and what I believe in. So I don't have any I don't have any conflicting motivations. I don't do any sponsored. I don't promote any shit. I'm not saying I never would like if I started using something, maybe I'd mention it, but I don't do affiliate stuff, where I'm promoting things. I don't do that. So I think those are the two big things the younger generations have to deal with. And again, it's both social media based, but one is, again, these ridiculous beauty expectations and standards. And the other one is this constant stream of bullshit strategies put into your head, but that's a great question. And it's a real stuff. It's definitely true. Cause I work a lot with most of my clients are 45 plus years old. That's the majority of my clients. And so when I get people younger, I have those conversations. It is different. It's real. It's real, Ann says, write a letter to yourself while you start, what meds you're on and all the aches and pains you feel now, because as you feel better, you forget. You really do forget. Yes, Anna, absolutely. Absolutely. She's right. It's the recency bias. We tend to, things that are current now, we tend to think it's always been like that. I know you may not believe that, but it's very true. And so we did that in our coaching group a couple of weeks ago, where I had everyone write down all the benefits and all the achievements they'd achieved since being in the program. Every single person was shocked that they'd not realized how much they'd improved. So that's a very real thing. And I'm really glad you said that. That's great advice from Ann. Definitely true. That, we want to, boy, that's such an important thing. I'll tell you another reason why that's so important, Ann, is in my program, I get a lot of perfectionists and overachievers, and perfectionists are always measuring themselves against perfection, right? But measuring yourself constantly against perfection is a great way to feel like shit, no matter what, right? Because you're never going to be perfect, not perfect. You can always imagine, you can never be your full potential. Your mindset, your potential always is going to outstrip your reality, right? And so, I was going to say, so that being said, so you're always looking at perfection. You're always going to feel like you're less than, right? But what I like to do is remind people, look at where you started from. I ask that question multiple times every single day, because when you start to measure your success and your progress from where you started from, not from where you want to go, it's a completely different orientation. And all of a sudden you realize how far you went. Because again, the measuring yourself as perfection, no matter what, I'll give it, like, I've been in my goal weight for a long time, and I have regularly felt like shit about my body though. When I see Brad Pitt in Fight Club, oh, I should look like that. I see some athlete, all ripped up and, oh, I should look like that. Oh, who gives a shit about that? So like, I can look at perfection and feel like shit. It's crazy, and, but if I look at where I started from, 50 pounds heavier, it's so much about a healthier and lethargic and tired and shitty feeling and whatever. It's crazy. But yeah, you have to, this is what I mean about running your brain though. This is what Ann just said here. That's what I mean. Like, when you start to understand your brain, you can start to strategize and work with it. And with dieting, you're basically trying to fight your brain, and it's never going to work. Dieting doesn't work, folks. Dieting works for a little while at best. Dieting doesn't work long-term. There's no question about that. But again, you're in a diet trance. You've been in a diet. Listen, it's not your fault. We've all been conditioned by tens of millions of ads for diet weight loss marketing in our lives. Millions and millions of ads. And so it's controlled the way that we think about weight loss. I mean, you could ask 1,000 people in America how to lose weight. You're going to hear diet, injections, surgery. You're going to hear mindset. You're not going to hear create a strategic system, of how to think, live, and eat so that you can be a thin, healthy person in the easiest, most comfortable way possible. You're not going to hear that. Nothing even close. And I say this to you because it's important to recognize this, because if you're struggling, you're always telling yourself you're struggling because have no self-control, or because you're weak, or because you have no willpower. You're blaming yourself. But you should really be blaming the lack of strategy and plan you have. What is your fucking plan? When you really look at your weight loss plan, you're going to see the emperor has no clothes. You have no real plan. Having a vague idea that I shouldn't eat until 12, or I should eat 1,500 calories a day, or I should stop eating carbs, or I should stop eating fat, or I should whatever. That vague plan is not a real plan, just so you know. Knowing what to do is a small part of your success. The bigger piece is knowing how to get yourself to do it consistently. And that's the missing piece of your puzzle. You never learn how to get yourself to do the right things. It's always, every single weight loss plan out there is them telling you what to do. The rest is up to you. Well, just fucking do it. No pain, no gain. Get yourself to do it. You motivated. Where's a will is a way. Just do it. Well, bullshit. What about when you can't get yourself to do it? What about when you can't do it? That's a real state, folks. And you just keep thinking that the answer is you to magically wake up and just force yourself to do it. It's never going to happen. You're literally never going to lose weight long-term on a diet. It's estimated 95% of people that lose weight on a diet. So never mind the times that you try a diet and don't lose any weight. I'm talking about the times you commit to a plan and actually lose the weight. You get to that point, you got a 95 to 98% chance you're going to put the weight back on. So that needs to be dealt with. No. Mustafa said, I'm just trying to survive. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we're in survival mode, right? I mean, survival mode's a real thing too. But again, even survival mode, again, in Program Yourself Thin, like I said, we're not all or nothing, we're all or something. And so we start the program anticipating that we're going to have times in our lives when we're in survival mode. And guess what? When you're in survival mode, you're not going to be in fucking ketosis. Can you imagine trying to be in ketosis when you're in survival mode? You just lost your job. You got your relationships on the rocks, you got health scare, financial stress. And what, you're going to be in ketosis? No, you're not. You're going to eat 1,000 calories. You can track every calorie. No, you're not. And that's the problem with dieting. It's all or nothing. And it's mostly nothing. So Sherry says, that's one of the things I love about your program and podcast. You're genuine, honest, and sincere about your beliefs and wanting to help people. It really hits home and works for me. Thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. Yeah. And Sherry's awesome. She's doing so good. She's fun to work with too. Again, I say this all the time and I'll say it once more, but you're probably looking at maybe one of the luckiest people on the planet. I might be one of the luckiest people on the planet, genuinely. And part of the reason why I'm so lucky is I get to work with amazing people. My clients, I mean, I can define them in a nutshell. I'm the same way. We're overthinkers. We're perfectionists. We're type A type people, action-oriented, ambitious. We want to take things on, listen to lots of information, thinking about stuff all the time. And so what I love about what I do is I get these really smart, successful, awesome people that have been struggling for literally their entire lives with weight. Tried all the diets and actually done it too. Not just talking shit like, oh, I wish. They have literally done this. They've done all sorts of stuff and nothing works long-term. And so when they find my program, it's so amazing to give them all this great information in the system and then watch them just thrive, right? Because again, there's nothing wrong with you. You've got to stop thinking there's something wrong with you and that the reason you're overweight is because it's your fault because you don't have willpower. That's not the problem. The problem is you've never learned how to have a strategic, comprehensive plan to live as a thin, healthy person that really works for you. You don't even think in those terms. What I just said is brand new idea to you. You've never thought that on your own. No diet's telling you to think that way. All the diets are about is just losing weight as fast as you can. And again, what it turns it into, diets turn weight loss into a sprint. So you're thinking about weight loss as a sprint. Problem is, it's a marathon. And I can prove that to you because, again, I asked the simple question, how long would you like to live at your goal weight? I can hear you saying forever. And so what this means is that you're in a marathon, but you're running it like you're in a sprint. And if you imagine a reality where there's a marathon and someone runs it as a sprint, what's going to happen? They're going to win the first half mile. I don't know how long you can sprint for. They're going to win the first half mile and they're going to feel on top of the world. Holy shit, I'm killing these people. And then they're going to run out of gas and not even finish the race. And that's what dieters are doing. They're running a sprint strategy. They're running a sprint and a marathon and they're constantly losing. Michael says, I like that advice, all or something. Yeah, all or something is the stuff of stuff. I mean, that's one of the predominant philosophies of Program Yourself Thin. And the secret is this. This is the beauty of it. I'm going to look this up. I have to figure out what this is. And if any of you financial people out there know this, give me the answer here. But what I was thinking is, right, so in Program Yourself Thin, we do the all or something philosophy, and that ties into the 1% better a day philosophy. So most people are approaching their weight loss all or nothing. Okay. So they're nothing And then Monday comes and now they're doing their keto plan perfectly, right? It doesn't matter. Pick your poison. You're doing nothing, and now all of a sudden you're doing this thing perfectly. And you do it perfectly for a little while, then you make a mistake, you get bored, you get sick, you get tired of it, and you go back to nothing. And so this is basically your plan. This is what you've been doing forever. Nothing, all, nothing, all, nothing, all. And your weight never changes because you're nothing most of the time. And you're all a couple weeks out of the year, maybe. So all or something turns this on its head. And it really flips the whole thing around because, listen, you can still be all. Sometimes life's going well and you're motivated, focused, got the energy, time, everything's working. Knock yourself out. You know what I mean? Eat real clean, do everything, structure everything. Great, cool. But the secret is, the real thing that creates change is when you're not being all. What are you doing there? And so all of a sudden, instead of being nothing, we do something. Even if it's something small, it's game changing. Because if you do something small consistently and you get 1% better a day, every day, it's not over a year, 365% better. It's exponentially better. And I need to get that number. That's what I was asking my financial people about. I'm going to look it up today with my finance calculator. But what I'm looking for is, if you get 1% better a day, what is that percent return improvement? So if anyone is a financial person out there, give me that number. Save me a couple of minutes of work here. But that's the idea, right? And so when you go at it with this something mentality, it's very profound. It's deeper than just, the surface level excitement about it. It's the fact that it's easy to do something. Something could be drinking more water, right? So you're like, yeah, when I'm on track, I'm tracking all my calories, I'm eating everything clean, I'm great. And then when I'm in survival mode, well, at least I'm drinking my water every day. And you say, what difference is that going to make? It makes all the difference in the world, because just drinking your water every day, it's something better. And drinking that water every day, some days is going to nudge you to have the apple. And then when you have the apple, some days you're going to go for a walk. And it's going to increase the percentages of times you do those healthy things. And then those things are going to increase the times you do other healthy things. And so the difference is, you think you're going to go from nothing up to all and stay up here. That's an illusion. The real answer is that, fine, go up to all and you start improving. And then you get sacked in the gut by life and you go back to something, but you're still doing something. And here's the secret. When you're doing something, you keep improving. You keep improving. If you keep doing little things regularly, 1% better, keep stacking on top of itself. And so this is the real secret to getting to your goal weight. It's not just a jump up to acting perfect. It's systematically and strategically working your way up to have a plan where you're at your goal weight and it's comfortable and easy. And so it's a complete different paradigm of approaching it. And it makes all the difference in the world. It makes it all easier, and that's the key thing is easier. Gustav says, I've been working in a call center, so I sit all day, and when I get home, I just want to sleep. Yep. Diet equals short-term, lifestyle change equals long-term. Yeah, absolutely. But again, I'll let you know too, like people, I hear buzzwords. The two buzzwords I hear probably the most are lifestyle change and mindset change from weight loss people. And we're getting to a point where people are realizing diets don't work. I really need to change my lifestyle, but they'll throw that out there again. What's that mean? Now, I think it's important. I think you absolutely have to change your mindset and lifestyle. But my deeper question to you is, if you think you need to change your lifestyle and your mindset, great. What's your plan to do that? And I think once again, you're finding, oh, the emperor's got no clothes. I don't really have a plan. I don't really know. Actually, change my lifestyle. What does that actually mean? What do I actually mean when I say I need to change my lifestyle? What do I actually mean when I say I need to change my mindset? What exactly does that mean? And how do I go about doing it? And most likely that's as far as your mind goes, probably. Now, program yourself in. We have the goal weight blueprint, mindset, lifestyle, eating. The mindset section, it's questions and training to bring you right through 6 steps, how to create a thin, healthy mindset. Motivation, self-image, habits, emotions, thinking, maintenance. We go through them all. So you have a customized plan. That's how you create a mindset. Lifestyle? Well, we got the 8 core habits of a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, in order of importance: sleeping, water, hydration, relaxation, breathing, nourishment, movement, meditation, gratitude. And you go through systematically working to install those into your life in a comfortable, easy way. Eating, we go through awareness, structure, optimization. It's laid out. It's strategic. There's there. The emperor does have clothes and program yourself thin. It's a specific plan. And I think you'll find that you don't have any specific plans for those things. You've been given eating plans. You've been given detailed eating plans and detailed workout plans. I'll grant you that. But first of all, those plans aren't built for you. They're one size fits all plans, which probably don't fit you. And so dieting feels like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. That's what you've been doing the whole time. And so when you start to craft a plan custom made around you, your likes, your dislikes, your lifestyle, your preferences, it's a lot easier to keep with it, right? And when you have the holistic system, you have the mindset supporting the lifestyle that supports the eating, and everything feels different. You've never done this before. So again, if you want to go any deeper into this, again, click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session, get in there, because again, like I said, I'm opening up Circle. This is really cool. I mean, again, this is so exciting for me because I love the community stuff. And even for my clients in there, it's going to become a lot more exciting and interesting too. But my clients, y'all get to meet Lumi today. You'll find out. So keep an eye out. If you're in the program, keep an eye on your Circle app today, because you're going to meet Lumi. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I'm excited for you. Just Jade said, after 1 year, thanks. So after 1 year, 365 days, improving by 1% daily results in being 37.78 times better than where you started. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, 37 times better. 37 times better. That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot better. 37 times better. So that's crazy. I want the percentage increase though. Let's see if let me look up. Improve 1% compounded daily. What percentage increase is that over a year? I know this for a little factoid tip. I actually got a degree in finance and investments. So I should know how to do this, but let's see. Let's just use the old chat GPT. Okay, yeah, so that's what I was looking for too. Okay, so this is exactly the answer I was looking for. So thank you, Just Jade, because yeah, 37.78 times is what it's saying here. But I want to put in a different context that getting 1% better a day over a year is a 3,678% increase over where you started. Think about that statistically. I love numbers. I love statistics. And so getting 1% better a day, see, because your brain minimizes and diminishes the power of small improvements. I tell you, I say, hey, this is how we're going to do it 1% better a day. And you say, that's not fast enough. That's not enough. And this is literally the definition. One of my favorite quotes in the world is most people overestimate how much weight they can lose in a month and underestimate how much weight they can lose in a year. And this is the numbers. I'm going to use these numbers a lot. So I tell you, let's get 1% better a day. And your brain says, it's not fast enough. That's bullshit. It's going to take forever. Right? I got to jump in completely because I want fast results. And every time you do that, you never get great results. And if you do get great results, you put the weight back on. So the alternative is you get 1% better a day. I know you don't want to, but if you do 1% better a day, you're 3,678% better at the end of the year. That's crazy, isn't it? And it's so true. It is so true. So I love those numbers. So thank you, Just Jade. I appreciate that. So again, it's a mindset thing, right? You got to think differently about all this stuff. That's where your power comes from, is thinking differently, not thinking the same and all of a sudden just having magical qualities, which is what most dieters think. Most dieters, again, because that's their mantra. The dieter mantra is, I know what to do. I just need to get myself to do it, right? And so that's not true. You don't know what to do. That's the big problem. And so once you learn, again, the whole process changes and becomes much easier. But I'm going to get out of here. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a super duper weekend. If you're not in my world, go click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you. You can go to programyourselfthin.com and get it. You can click the link in my bio and get it. If you're in the program, keep an eye on the Circle app. You're going to meet Lumi in a little while today. That's going to be pretty cool for you, I hope. And if you like this, I'm here every Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern. You can ask any questions you have. Feel free. I'm here to help you out. And if you want to listen to this and you missed it, it's also a podcast. Program Yourself Thin. Go to any podcast platform, go search it. You'll find it. You can listen to it whenever you want. Again, I'm here to help you. So have a super weekend and we'll talk soon. Bye.